It's been almost 50 years and the chill still crawls up my spine whenever the wind whispers through the pines. I should have left it buried, that secret in the woods. But some things claw their way back to the surface. Before we begin, consider subscribing if you enjoy stories from the edge of reality. And let me know in the comments where you're listening from. It always amazes me how far these stories travel. I was a ranger back then, fresh out of the academy, full of piss and vinegar and the naive belief that I understood the wilderness. The Cascades were my domain, a sprawling kingdom of ancient forests and snow-capped peaks. I loved it, every inch of it. Long days patrolling, mapping trails, dealing with the occasional lost tourist or campfire gone rogue. It was a good life, a simple life. I had a wife, Sarah, waiting for me back in town. We were young, full of dreams. We'd talk about kids, a cabin in the woods, a future carved out of the mountains we both loved. Then the calls started. Strange calls, static-laced and barely audible, crackling over the radio. Reports of odd noises, unsettling silence, trails that seemed to vanish into thin air. At first we dismissed them as the usual wilderness paranoia, hikers letting their imaginations run wild. But the frequency increased, the reports became more consistent. There was a palpable unease settling over the park, a sense that something was watching us. One morning, a call came in that stopped me cold. A hiker, a young man in his early 20s, had been found wandering near the tree line at dawn. He was alive, but barely, hypothermic, dehydrated, and silent, completely silent. He wouldn't speak, wouldn't respond to questions, just stood there staring blankly ahead. His eyes, they were filled with a terror I'd never seen before. They brought him down to the ranger station. Doctor checked him over but found nothing physically wrong, just emptiness. I tried to talk to him gently, but he remained unresponsive. Then as the sun began to crest the mountains, he finally spoke. One word, whispered, barely audible. He rasped, his voice raw and broken. He carried me. He wouldn't elaborate, just repeated those 3 words over and over like a broken record. He carried me. He carried me. He carried me. The sheriff, a gruff old-timer named Brody, dismissed it as exposure and shock. Said the kid probably got lost, hallucinated, and was lucky to be alive. But I couldn't shake the feeling that there was something more to it. Something darker. Something that the wilderness was trying to keep hidden. That night I couldn't sleep. Sarah was next to me, her breathing soft and even, but my mind was racing. I kept seeing the young man's eyes, the sheer terror etched into his face. I knew I had to go back, had to find out what happened to him. The next morning I told Sarah I was going to check on the trail where they found him. Routine patrol, I said. She kissed me goodbye, a lingering kiss, and I felt a pang of guilt as I walked out the door. I knew I wasn't telling her the whole truth. The trail was eerily quiet. The birds weren't singing. The squirrels weren't chattering. Just the rustle of the wind through the trees and the crunch of my boots on the fallen leaves. The air was heavy, thick with the smell of pine and damp earth. As I climbed higher, the temperature dropped and a thick fog began to roll in, obscuring the path ahead. Then I saw it. A footprint. Not a bear print, not a deer print. Something else entirely. It was huge, easily twice the size of my own boot, and deeply impressed into the soft earth. The toes were long and splayed, the heel thick and powerful. It was wrong. My heart pounded in my chest. I knelt down, ran my hand over the print. The edges were sharp, fresh. Whatever made it had been here recently. I stood up, my hand instinctively reaching for the pistol on my hip. The forest seemed to hold its breath, waiting. I took a deep breath, trying to calm my racing nerves. It was probably just a bear, I told myself. A big bear. But I knew deep down that it wasn't a bear. The fog thickened, enveloping the trees like ghosts. Each rustle of a leaf, each snap of a branch, sounded like a warning. I unsheathed my pistol, the cold metal comforting in my hand. The forest remained silent, but it was not a peaceful silence. It was an expectant silence, as if something were watching me, lurking in the shadows. I followed the trail, my steps hesitant, my gaze fixed on every movement. The monstrous footprint appeared every few meters, becoming clearer, getting closer. The earth was churned up around it as if something heavy had been dragged. The smell of pine and damp earth mingled with a strange, pungent, almost metallic odor that made me wrinkle my nose. Suddenly, the trail opened into a clearing. In the center, a twisted ancient tree with branches that stretched out like skeletal arms, and carved into the trunk, a grotesque image, a humanoid being with horns and claws engulfed in flames. It was a primitive, almost childlike representation, but the evil emanating from that image was palpable. I felt a shiver run through my body, a chill that didn't come from the mountain's cold, but from an ancestral atavistic fear. I took a few steps back, hesitant. What was that? What did it mean? That's when I heard it. A low, guttural sound, coming from inside the forest. An animalistic grunt, followed by the rustling of branches and stones. I stopped, holding my breath. The sound drew closer, louder and louder, more and more menacing. Pointing my weapon in the direction of the sound, I waited. The fog parted, revealing an immense, shadowy figure that moved with surprising agility for its size. It was tall, muscular, covered in thick, dark fur. Its eyes gleamed with a wild, intense red. Its hands ended in sharp claws, capable of tearing flesh and bone. The creature stopped, staring at me. A deep growl emanated from its throat, revealing yellowish, pointed teeth. I felt fear paralyze me, adrenaline coursing through my veins. It was real. That thing was real. It moved, too fast for me to react. It lunged at me with uncontrollable fury, its claws outstretched, ready to tear me apart. I screamed, a primal scream of terror, and fired. The bullet struck the monster in the shoulder, a dull thud followed by a roar of fury. It seemed to do little more than irritate it. It continued advancing, ignoring the pain, its eyes fixed on me with an animalistic hatred. I fired again, and again, the bullets finding their mark, but the creature did not flinch. It was as if the pain didn't affect him, as if he were moved by a greater, darker force. I recoiled, stumbling over exposed roots, desperately trying to gain distance. The creature was fast, incredibly fast for its size. With each step, the distance between us decreased. I could feel its hot, fetid breath on my face, the smell of blood and damp earth. I knew I couldn't beat him in a direct fight. I needed a strategy, an advantage. I looked around desperately, searching for something that could help me. My eyes landed on the twisted tree, on the grotesque image carved into its trunk. An idea came to mind, a desperate plan, but perhaps the only chance I had. I ran toward the tree, the creature hot on my heels. I dodged a branch that stretched out like an arm, feeling the wind whip my face. The creature was almost on top of me, its claws outstretched, ready to reach me. I reached the tree and threw myself behind it, using the trunk as a shield. The creature hesitated for a moment, confused. The engraved image seemed to disturb her, as if she recognized something in it. I took advantage of her hesitation to reload my weapon, the metallic sound echoing in the silent clearing. The creature growled, shaking its head as if trying to rid itself of a troubling thought. Then, with a deafening roar, it attacked the tree, its claws tearing through the wood as if it were paper. Splinters flew everywhere, hitting my face and hands. I knew I couldn't stay there much longer. The tree wouldn't withstand the creature's attack much longer. I needed to act, and fast. I took a deep breath, trying to calm my nerves. I pointed the gun at the creature, aiming at its red, wild eyes. I fired. The bullet hit its target, and the creature staggered backward, howling in pain. But it didn't fall. Instead, its eyes filled with an even greater, more intense fury. It looked at me, and for a moment I felt as if I were looking at something more than a wild animal. There was intelligence there, a dark and malevolent intelligence. It moved again, faster than before, its claws ready to tear me apart. But I was ready. At the last second, I dodged to the side, narrowly avoiding the attack. The creature passed right by me, losing its balance for an instant. I seized the opportunity and jumped onto its back, grabbing onto its thick, dark fur. The creature struggled, trying to throw me off, but I held on firmly, clinging with all my might. I knew I couldn't stay there for long. The creature was too strong, too powerful. Eventually, it would bring me down, and then it would be the end. I needed to find a way to subdue it, to dominate it, but how? I looked around desperately, searching for a solution. My eyes landed on the image carved into the tree, the image of the humanoid being with horns and claws engulfed in flames, an image of pure evil, of ancient darkness. And then, an idea occurred to me, an insane, dangerous idea, but perhaps the only chance I had. I started screaming. I screamed with all the strength of my lungs, shouting meaningless words, words of anger, of fear, of despair, words that echoed the darkness I felt inside me. The creature seemed disturbed by my screams. Its movements became more erratic, more uncontrolled. She howled and growled, trying to silence me, but I kept screaming with more intensity, more fury. I felt something change inside me. The anger and fear began to dissipate, replaced by a strange, powerful sensation. It was as if I were connecting with something deeper, more primal, something that had been dormant inside me, waiting to be awakened. My screams transformed into a chant, an ancient, somber chant, words I didn't know, but which seemed to flow naturally from my lips. Words that echoed through the darkness of the forest, the creature's wickedness. The creature stopped struggling. It stood completely still as if hypnotized, its wild red eyes fixed on me, full of fear and confusion. I felt the power flowing through me, a dark and powerful energy that filled me completely. It was as if I were becoming part of the forest, part of the creature, part of the darkness. And then, I whispered. I whispered words of command, words of domination, words that subdued the creature, that forced it to obey. The creature trembled, resisting for a moment. But then, her resistance gave way. Her shoulders slumped. Her head drooped forward. She was under my control. Dark energy filled my being, an overwhelming, indomitable force. The creature, now passive, awaited my orders. A strange feeling of power washed over me, a dark intoxication that threatened to consume me. The forest seemed to vibrate in harmony, the trees whispering ancient secrets. "Rise," I ordered, my voice hoarse and laden with authority. Slowly, the creature obeyed. Its muscles tensed beneath its thick fur as it rose, imposing and menacing, but now under my command. Its eyes, once filled with fury, now displayed a confused bewilderment, as if it were trying to understand what had happened. "What are you?" I asked, curiosity battling fear. The creature didn't answer. It just stared at me with its red eyes, the confusion still present. I tried to probe its mind, searching for answers, but found only emptiness, an abyss of darkness and primal instinct. "Where did you come from?" I insisted, raising my voice. Again, silence. The creature seemed incapable of communicating, a prisoner in its bestial form. I began to question my ability to control it, to keep it under my influence. The dark energy pulsed within me, growing stronger, becoming increasingly difficult to contain. I decided to change tactics. Instead of questions, I tried to give simple commands, directing the creature away from the clearing, back into the depths of the forest. "Go," I ordered, pointing north. "Go back to where you came from." The creature hesitated for a moment, as if fighting my orders, but eventually it yielded. It turned and began to walk, its heavy footsteps echoing through the silent forest. I watched it walk away, the mist swallowing its imposing silhouette. I felt immense relief, but also a deep apprehension. I knew it wasn't over. That creature was just a symptom of something bigger, something darker lurking in the depths of the forest. The dark energy began to diminish, the somber intoxication dissipating. I felt the weight of exhaustion overwhelm me, my body worn out from the fight. I staggered, bracing myself against the twisted tree to avoid falling. I looked at the image carved into the trunk, the grotesque representation of a humanoid being with horns and claws. A chill ran down my spine. That image was not just a representation, it was a warning that evil existed, that it lurked in the shadows, waiting for the right moment to strike. I needed to tell someone, to warn people about the danger. But who would believe me? Who would believe the story of a monster in the forest, controlled by an ancient chant? Brody, the sheriff, would call me crazy, say I was delirious from stress and fatigue. Sarah would worry, beg me to seek help. No one would understand. I decided to keep the secret, at least for now. I needed proof. I needed to understand what was happening. I needed to discover the origin of that creature, the meaning of that image. I returned to the park ranger station, my body exhausted, my mind tormented. Sarah was waiting for me, her face worried. "Is everything all right?" she asked, rushing to hug me. "Yes," I replied, trying to sound convincing. "Just a long day." She didn't seem to believe me, but she didn't insist. I hugged her tightly, feeling the warmth of her body comforting me. I needed to protect her from the darkness lurking in the forest. That night I couldn't sleep. Images of the creature, the image carved into the tree, the ancestral chant, invaded my mind. He knew he couldn't ignore what had happened. He needed to go back to the forest, investigate, discover the truth. The next morning I left Sarah sleeping and returned to the clearing. The mist had dissipated, revealing the devastation caused by the fight. The twisted tree was covered in scratches, the earth churned up, pieces of wood scattered everywhere. I carefully examined the area, searching for clues. I found the creature's footprints, which I followed to the edge of the forest. The footprints disappeared into the dense vegetation, as if the creature had merged with the forest itself. I returned to the clearing and examined the tree more closely. The engraved image seemed to pulse with a dark energy, as if it were alive. I touched the image with my hand, feeling a shiver run through my body. Suddenly I had a vision of an ancient time, of dark rituals, of human sacrifices. I saw people dressed in animal skins, dancing around a bonfire, invoking dark forces. I saw the image of the humanoid being with horns and claws being worshipped as a god. The vision vanished as quickly as it had appeared, leaving me dizzy and disoriented. I fell to my knees, my head throbbing. What had that been? A memory? A premonition? I got up with difficulty, feeling weak and vulnerable. I knew I was dealing with something much bigger than I could have imagined. I needed help. But who could I turn to? Brody the sheriff certainly wouldn't believe my visions. Sarah would worry too much, and I didn't want to put her in danger. Perhaps there was someone in town, someone who knew the history of the forest, the ancient rituals, the forgotten legends. I returned to town determined to find answers. I went straight to the library, a quiet, dusty place filled with old books and faded maps. I spent hours scouring the local archives, searching for any mention of the image carved into the tree, the dark rituals, the creature of the forest. I found some vague references, folklore legends about a forest spirit, an evil being that fed on the fear and darkness of men, but nothing concrete, nothing that could help me understand what was happening. I was almost giving up when I found an old book, bound in leather and with pages yellowed with age. The title was faded, but as I leafed through it, I found a chapter about the ancient inhabitants of the region, an indigenous tribe that lived in the mountains long before the arrival of the colonizers. The tribe was known for its complex rituals, animistic beliefs, and deep connection with nature. And, among the descriptions of their customs, I found a reference to the image carved into the tree. The image was a sacred symbol for the tribe, a representation of an ancient forest god, a powerful and ambivalent being capable of bringing both life and death. According to the book, the god was worshipped in secret rituals, performed in secluded clearings, where tribe members offered sacrifices in exchange for protection and prosperity. But at some point in history, something went wrong. The rituals grew darker, more violent, human sacrifices became more frequent, and the tribe began to lose control over the forest god. The book recounted that the god became corrupted, transforming into an evil creature thirsty for blood and power. The tribe tried to contain the creature, but their efforts were in vain. The god had broken free, spreading terror and destruction throughout the region. To avoid annihilation, the tribe decided to abandon their lands, fleeing into the heart of the forest, taking their secrets and rituals with them. The image engraved on the tree, according to the book, was a final warning, a reminder of the danger lurking in the depths of the forest. I closed the book, stunned by what I had read. The folklore legends, the vague references, the dark rituals, it all made sense now. The creature I had faced was the forest god, corrupted and bloodthirsty, and the image carved into the tree was a warning, a reminder that evil lurked. I needed to find the tribe, I needed to discover how to contain the creature. But how could I find them? They had hidden in the forest for centuries, their tracks erased by time. I left the library, determined to find a clue, a sign that could lead me to them. I walked through the city streets, observing the people, the buildings, the monuments. Nothing seemed out of place, nothing seemed connected to the tribe's history. I was almost giving up when I saw an old man sitting on a park bench, smoking a pipe and looking at the sky. He was a simple man, with worn clothes and a face marked by time, but there was something in his eyes, something that caught my attention. I approached the old man and sat down beside him. He looked at me curiously but said nothing. "Good afternoon," I said, trying to start a conversation. "Good afternoon," the old man replied, his voice hoarse and tired. "I'm a park ranger," I continued, "and I'm investigating some strange incidents that have been happening in the forest." The old man looked at me more closely, his eyes narrowing. "Strange incidents?" he asked, with a tone of distrust. "Yes," I replied. "Things I can't explain. Ancient rituals, strange creatures, things that seemed to come from another world. The old man was silent for a moment, as if pondering my words. Then he sighed and said, "The forest holds many secrets, Park Ranger. Secrets that are better left buried." "I know," I replied, "but those secrets are resurfacing. And if we do nothing, they might destroy us." The old man looked at me sadly, his eyes full of wisdom and resignation. "You are young," he said, "and you have the courage to face the unknown. But be careful, Park Ranger. The forest is a dangerous place, and not all secrets should be revealed." "I know," I replied, "but I need to try. I need to protect the people, protect the forest." The old man smiled, a bitter and melancholy smile. "Then may luck be with you," he said, "but don't expect to find help. The tribe is long gone, its traces erased by time. You are alone in this fight." "The tribe?" I asked, surprised. "You know about the tribe?" The old man looked at me with an enigmatic gaze, as if he were hiding something. "Yes," he replied, "I know about the tribe, but I can't tell you much. Some secrets are too dangerous to be revealed." "Please," I pleaded, "I need your help. Many people's lives may depend on it." The old man hesitated for a moment, looking at me suspiciously. Finally, he sighed and said, "Very well, Park Ranger, but don't expect me to tell you everything. Just enough to put you on the right track." He rose from the bench, leaning on a wooden staff. "Come with me," he said. "I know a place where we can talk in private." I followed the old man through the city streets until we reached a small antique shop. The shop was dark and dusty, filled with strange and curious objects. The old man led me to the back of the shop, where there was a small private room. We sat in 2 wooden chairs facing a table covered with books and papers. The old man lit an oil lamp, illuminating the room with a weak, flickering light. "My name is Elias," said the old man, "and I am one of the last descendants of the tribe that inhabited these mountains. I know much about the tribe's history, about its rituals, about its secrets. I need to know about the god of the forest," I said, "about the creature that is terrorizing the region." Elias sighed, looking at me sadly. "The forest god," he said, "is an ancient and powerful force that has always existed in these mountains. He is the personification of nature, both in its beauty and its ferocity. The tribe used to worship the forest god," I continued, "but at some point something went wrong. The god became corrupted, transforming into an evil creature." "Yes," replied Elijah, "that's true. The tribe tried to control the forest god, but their efforts were in vain. The god became too strong, too powerful. He broke free, spreading terror and destruction throughout the region." "What happened to the tribe?" I asked. "Where did they go?" "The tribe scattered," Elias replied, "fleeing into the interior of the forest, taking their secrets and rituals with them. Some died, others joined other tribes. Only a few survived, keeping the tribe's memory alive." "Are you one of those survivors?" I asked. "Yes," Elias replied. "I am one of the last, and I have the responsibility to protect the tribe's secrets, to prevent the forest god from being freed again." "How can we do that?" I asked. "How can we contain the creature?" Elijah was silent for a moment, as if pondering my words. Finally he said, "There is a way, but it is dangerous and it requires a great sacrifice." "I am willing to do whatever it takes," I replied. "Very well," said Elijah. "Then listen to me carefully. To appease the forest god, we must perform an ancient tribal ritual, a ritual that requires a human sacrifice." I felt a chill run through my body. "A human sacrifice?" I asked, horrified. "Are you serious?" "Yes," replied Elias, "I'm serious. There's no other way. The god of the forest feeds on blood and pain. To appease him, we need to offer him a sacrifice." "I can't do that," I said. "I can't take anyone's life." "I understand," said Elias, "but think of the consequences. If we do nothing, the forest god will continue to terrorize the region, killing innocent people. Are you willing to let that happen?" I remained silent for a moment, grappling with my thoughts. I knew Elias was right. If we did nothing, the forest god would continue to kill. But the idea of performing a human sacrifice repulsed me. "Is there another way?" I asked. "There has to be another way to contain the creature." "No," Elijah replied. "There is no other way. I searched for years but found no alternative. Sacrifice is the only solution." "And who would be sacrificed?" I asked. Elijah looked me in the eyes with a penetrating gaze. "You," he replied. I felt the blood run cold in my veins. "Me?" I asked, incredulous. Are you saying I have to sacrifice myself? Yes, Elias replied. That's what I'm saying. You're the only one who can perform the ritual. You're the only one who has the strength and courage to face the god of the forest. But why me? I asked. Why not you? I'm too old, Elias replied, and too weak. I don't have the energy to perform the ritual. Besides, I've already lived my life. You're young. You have a future ahead of you. But you have the chance to do something important, to save many lives. I remained silent for a long time, trying to process what Elias was telling me. The idea of sacrificing myself was frightening, but I also felt honored to have been chosen to perform this task. I need some time to think, I said. I need some time to decide what to do. I understand, said Elias, but don't take too long. The god of the forest is growing stronger with each passing day. The longer you delay, the harder it will be to contain him. I nodded, understanding the urgency of the situation. I rose from my chair, feeling the weight of responsibility on my shoulders. I will decide, I said. I will do whatever it takes to protect the people in the forest. I left Elias's shop, walking through the city streets with a confused mind and a heavy heart. The idea of sacrificing myself was frightening, but I also felt it was the right thing to do. It was the only way to ensure that the forest god was contained, that the darkness wouldn't spread. I returned to the park ranger station, where Sarah was waiting for me. She hugged me tightly, sensing my distress. What happened? She asked, worried. You're pale. I need to tell you something, I said. But you can't be scared. You need to trust me. I took Sarah inside the cabin and told her everything that had happened. I told him about the creature in the forest, about the ancient tribe, about the dark rituals. I told him about Elias and the human sacrifice. Sarah listened silently, her eyes wide with astonishment. When I finished, she hugged me tightly, tears streaming down her face. You can't do this, he said. You can't sacrifice yourself. I can't lose you. I need to do this, he said. It's the only way to protect the people in the forest. If I don't, the darkness will spread and everyone will suffer. But what about us? Sarah asked. What about our dreams? What about our future? Are you willing to throw all this away? I know, he said. I know I'm asking a lot, but I don't see any other way out. I need to do what's right. Sarah hugged me tighter, tears soaking my shirt. I love you, she said. I love you more than anything in the world. I love you too, I said. And that's why I need to do this. To protect you, to protect everyone. We spent the night together, embracing, crying. Sarah begged me not to sacrifice myself, but I remained firm in my decision. I knew it was the right thing to do, even though it hurt more than anything in the world. The next morning, I woke up with the sun shining in the sky. Sarah was still sleeping, her face swollen from crying. I got up carefully, put on my park ranger clothes, and left the cabin. I went to Elias's shop where he was waiting for me. Have you decided? He asked. Yes, I replied. I will make the sacrifice. Elijah nodded, a look of sadness in his eyes. I knew you would make the right choice, he said. You are a good man and the forest needs you. Elias led me to a secluded clearing in the forest where the ritual would be performed. The clearing was a sacred place for the ancient tribe, a place where they connected with nature and with the gods. In the center of the clearing, there was a flat stone where the sacrifice would be performed. Elias handed me an obsidian knife, sharp as a razor. This knife has been used by many generations of priests of the tribe, he said. It has the power to open the portal to the other world. I took a deep breath, trying to calm my nerves. I took the knife and walked to the stone. Elias began to sing an ancient song in a language I didn't understand. The song echoed through the clearing, creating an atmosphere of reverence and mystery. I lay down on the rock, looking at the sky. The clouds moved slowly as if watching the scene. I felt the wind blowing on my face, carrying the scent of pine and damp earth. Elias continued singing, his voice growing louder and louder, more and more intense. I felt the power of the forest enveloping me, preparing me for the sacrifice. I closed my eyes, thinking of Sarah. I remembered her smile, her embrace, her love. I knew I was doing the right thing, but I also knew I was leaving behind the person I loved most in the world. Tears began to stream down my face. I felt Elijah's knife touching my skin. I took a deep breath and waited. But then something happened. A scream echoed through the clearing, interrupting Elijah's song. I opened my eyes and saw Sarah running towards the clearing, her face desperate. "Stop!" Sarah cried. You can't do this. Elias stopped singing and looked at Sarah in surprise. What are you doing here? She asked. You shouldn't be here. I won't let you do this, Sarah said. I won't let you sacrifice the man I love. Sarah ran to the rock and threw herself over me, shielding me with her body. If you want to sacrifice me, she said, you'll have to kill me first. Elijah hesitated, looking at Sarah in bewilderment. He didn't know what to do. You don't understand, Elijah said. This is the only way. If we don't make the sacrifice, the darkness will spread. I don't believe you, said Sarah. There has to be another way. There has to be another way to save the forest, to contain the creature. I won't let you take his life. Elias sighed, his face etched with deep sorrow. You are a brave woman, Sarah, he said, but you don't understand the danger we face. The god of the forest is a powerful force and can only be stopped with a sacrifice. I don't care, Sarah said. I'd rather die than live in a world without him. She hugged me tighter, tears wetting my face. Please, she whispered, don't do this. Don't leave me. I looked at Sarah, into her eyes filled with love and despair. I felt my heart clench, the pain of separation consuming me. I knew she was right. I couldn't sacrifice myself. I couldn't leave her. But what to do? How to stop the creature without sacrifice? I looked at Elias, searching for an answer. He was silent, his face somber, as if he knew we had reached a dead end. Suddenly, an idea popped into my mind. A risky, desperate idea, but perhaps the only chance we had. Elijah, I said, what if there's another kind of sacrifice? What if we could offer something different to the god of the forest? Elijah looked at me curiously. What do you mean? What if we offer him the creature? He asked. What if we lure it into the clearing and trap it against the rock? Perhaps with the help of the obsidian knife, we can imprison it forever. Elias was silent for a moment, pondering my suggestion. It's a risky plan, he said. The creature is very powerful. I don't know if we can contain it. We need to try, I said. We have nothing to lose. Elias sighed, resigned. Very well, he said. Let's try. But we need to be quick and careful. If we fail, we're lost. We lifted Sarah from the rock and explained the plan. She was hesitant at first, but eventually agreed to help us. What do we need to do? He asked. We need to lure the creature into the clearing, he said. Elias and I will distract it while you prepare the stone for the ritual. How are we going to lure it? I have an idea, I said. I'll use the obsidian knife to cut my arm. The blood will attract the creature. Sarah looked at me in horror. Are you crazy? He asked. I'm not going to let you do this. We have no choice, he said. It's the only way to lure the creature into the clearing. I picked up the obsidian knife and took a deep breath. I knew I was about to do something dangerous, but I needed to be brave. I needed to protect Sarah, to protect the forest. With a swift movement, I cut my arm. The pain was intense, but I ignored it. I let the blood run down my skin, dripping onto the earth. The smell of blood spread through the clearing, drawing the creature from the depths of the forest. We heard a distant roar, followed by the sound of breaking branches and leaves being trampled. She's coming, Elias said. Prepare yourselves. Sarah ran to the rock and began wiping the surface with a cloth. Elias and I positioned ourselves at the entrance to the clearing, ready to confront the creature. Within minutes, the creature emerged from the clearing, its red eyes gleaming in the darkness. It growled at us, baring its sharp teeth and claws. Come, creature, it said. We're waiting for you. The creature hesitated for a moment, as if sensing the trap, but the smell of blood was irresistible. It lunged at us, intent on attacking. Elias and I moved quickly, dodging the creature's attacks. She was fast and strong, but we were more agile. We managed to keep the creature occupied, preventing it from getting close to Sarah. Sarah, now! He shouted. Sarah grabbed the obsidian knife and began to chant the ancient song. Her voice echoed through the clearing, creating a barrier of energy around the stone. The creature seemed to sense the change in the atmosphere. It stopped attacking us and looked at Sarah in confusion. Come, creature, Sarah said. Your time has come. The creature growled and lunged at Sarah, intending to destroy her. But as it approached the stone, she was enveloped by the energy barrier. The creature screamed in pain, trying to break free, but the barrier was too strong. Elias and I seized the opportunity to attack the creature. We leaped upon it, grabbing its thick, dark fur. Now, Elias, he shouted. Now. Elias took the obsidian knife and plunged it into the creature's heart. The creature howled in pain, its body trembling violently. I felt the creature's energy dissipating, the darkness receding. Gradually, the creature's body transformed, returning to its original form. Instead of a grotesque monster, we saw a man lying on the stone, his face marked by pain and suffering. He was one of the members of the ancient tribe. He lay there inert, the sacrifice finally complete. The dark energy that had previously permeated the clearing had vanished, replaced by a feeling of peace and serenity. Sarah's chanting ceased, and silence returned to the forest. A different kind of silence, a silence of liberation. I removed the knife from the man's chest, the cold metal stained with blood. I felt an enormous weight lift from my shoulders as if I had been carrying the burden of the forest for centuries. I looked at Sarah, her eyes brimming with tears but also filled with relief. "It's over," I said, my voice hoarse and weak. "It's finally over." Sarah ran to me and hugged me tightly, her body trembling. "I love you," she whispered. "I love you so much." "I love you too," I replied, holding her tightly in my arms. "And I promise I'll never put you in danger again." Elias approached us, his face downcast. "The ritual is complete," he said. "The god of the forest has been imprisoned. For now." "For now?" I asked, worried. "You mean he might come back?" "Yes," Elias replied. "The darkness never completely disappears. It only sleeps, waiting for the right moment to awaken. We need to be vigilant. We need to protect the forest." "How can we do that?" I asked. "We need to learn from the mistakes of the past," Elias replied. "We need to respect nature, honor the spirits of the forest. We need to remember the history of the tribe, its rituals, its secrets." "Will you teach us?" I asked. "Will you show us how to protect the forest?" Elias looked me in the eyes with a hopeful look. "Yes," I said. "I will teach you. I will share my knowledge with you. Together, we can protect the forest and prevent darkness from spreading again." And so, our journey began. We spent the following months learning from Elias, studying the ancient rituals of the tribe, exploring the secrets of the forest. We learned about the plants, the animals, the spirits that inhabited that sacred place. We learned about the importance of balance, harmony, and respect for nature. We learned that the forest was not only a place of beauty and wonder, but also a place of danger and darkness. And we learned that the only way to protect the forest was to love and respect every living being that inhabited it. Over time, Sarah and I became the guardians of the forest, the protectors of its secrets. We patrolled the trails, monitored the rituals, protected the animals. We became part of the forest, part of its soul. Elias became our mentor, our guide, our friend. He taught us everything he knew, preparing us for the day he would be gone. And that day inevitably arrived. Elias fell ill and, within a few weeks, passed away peacefully, surrounded by Sarah and me. We buried his body in the sacred clearing, beside the stone where the sacrifice had been performed. With Elias's death, the responsibility of protecting the forest fell on our shoulders. We knew we weren't alone. The spirits of the forest were with us, guiding us, protecting us, and we knew that as long as we loved and respected the forest, darkness would never spread again. Years passed, and Sarah and I grew old together in the forest we loved so much. We had children who grew up learning the secrets of the forest, the rituals of the tribe, the importance of balance and harmony. Our children became the new guardians of the forest, the protectors of its secrets, and we, the old guardians, sat in the shade of the trees watching our children care for the forest, knowing that the future was safe in their hands. And so the story of the forest continued, passing from generation to generation, keeping alive the memory of the ancient tribe, of the dark rituals, of the forest god, and the forest remained at peace, protected by the love and respect of its guardians. But the darkness never completely disappeared. It was still lurking in the depths of the forest, waiting for the right moment to awaken. And one day it awoke. One day a group of lumberjacks arrived in the forest intending to cut down the trees and build a road. They were greedy and unscrupulous men who cared nothing for nature, for the animals, for the spirits of the forest. They began to cut down the trees, destroying everything in their path. The animals fled, the forest spirits revolted, and darkness began to spread. Sarah and I tried to stop the lumberjacks, but there were many of them, and they were armed. We were captured and bound, watching helplessly as they destroyed the forest we loved so much. But then, something happened. The spirits of the forest united, invoking the power of the ancient god. The earth trembled, the sky darkened, and the forest transformed into a place of terror and darkness. The trees came to life, attacking the lumberjacks with their sharp branches. The animals revolted, biting and scratching the men, and darkness seized the lumberjacks, transforming them into bestial creatures, thirsting for blood and destruction. We watched, horrified, as the lumberjacks attacked each other, sanity abandoning their faces, replaced by an animalistic frenzy. The forest had become a battlefield, a place of death and despair. Sarah and I knew we had to do something, that we had to stop the darkness from spreading beyond the forest. But we were bound, powerless, unable to do anything. Then a voice emerged from the darkness, an ancient and powerful voice echoing the wisdom of the forest. It was the voice of Elias, the spirit of our mentor, who had returned to guide us. "Free yourselves," the voice said. "Free yourselves from the darkness that imprisons you. Remember the rituals of the tribe. Remember the power of the forest." Sarah and I closed our eyes, focusing our minds, remembering Elias's teachings. We visualized the tribe's rituals, felt the energy of the forest flowing through us, and then, with a combined effort, we broke the ropes that bound us. We were free. We picked up the weapons of the fallen lumberjacks, feeling the adrenaline coursing through our veins. We knew we were facing something more than just transformed lumberjacks. We were facing the darkness of the forest, the power of the ancient god. Sarah and I joined forces side by side, ready to fight. We knew we couldn't win alone. We needed the help of the forest's spirits, the force of nature. We began to sing the ancient chant, our voices echoing through the dark forest. We felt the forest's energy responding to our call, the trees moving, the animals joining us. The transformed lumberjacks attacked us with animalistic fury, but we were no longer alone. The spirits of the forest fought beside us, protecting us, guiding us. We fought with courage and determination, using the lumberjacks' weapons, the tribe's rituals, the power of the forest. With each lumberjack that fell, we felt the darkness diminish, the forest's energy strengthening. The battle lasted for hours, the forest trembling under the weight of the conflict. But in the end, we won. The transformed lumberjacks were defeated. The darkness was repelled. The forest calmed down again, peace returning to the sacred place. The forest spirits thanked us for our help, promising to protect us forever. Sarah and I embraced, exhausted but victorious. We knew we had faced the greatest challenge of our lives and we had won, but we knew that darkness still lurked, waiting for the right moment to return. We needed to remain vigilant, protect the forest, honor the spirits of nature. And so, we continued our journey, as guardians of the forest, as protectors of its secrets. We taught our children, our grandchildren, the rituals of the tribe, the importance of balance and harmony. They became the new guardians of the forest, the protectors of its spirit. And we, the old guardians, sat in the shade of the trees, watching our descendants care for the forest, knowing that darkness would never prevail. Years passed, and Sarah and I grew old and weary, but our love for the forest never diminished. We continued to protect it, to love it, to honor it, and at the end of our lives, we gathered in the sacred clearing, under the gaze of the ancient trees. Sarah looked at me with love, her eyes shining with the wisdom of years. "We did a good job," she said. "We protected the forest, we honored the spirits. We can depart in peace." I smiled at her, feeling peace invade my heart. "Yes," I said, "we can part in peace." We lay together on the soft grass, holding hands, as the sun set on the horizon. We felt the energy of the forest enveloping us, welcoming us into its embrace. And then, we closed our eyes and departed together to the other world, to the realm of spirits. We left behind a legacy of love, courage, and protection. We left behind the forest we loved so much, knowing it would be safe in the hands of our descendants, knowing that darkness would never prevail. And so our story ended, but the story of the forest continued, passing from generation to generation, keeping alive the memory of the ancient guardians. And the forest remained at peace, protected by the love and respect of its children. For the forest is more than just a place. It is a spirit, a soul, a force that unites all living beings. And as long as there is love, respect, and courage, the forest will never die. The forest will live forever, protected by its guardians, loved by its children, and darkness will never prevail. end, and darkness will never prevail. For as long as there are living beings who love the forest, its beauty and strength will prevail, and darkness will never prevail. For as long as there are living beings who love the forest, its beauty and strength will prevail. Love every leaf, every creature, every whisper of the wind, every ray of sunshine that dances among the trees. The forest is a gift, a legacy, a promise of life and hope, and as long as we love it, it will protect us, guide us, and keep us safe in its eternal embrace. May the peace of the forest always be with us, and may darkness never find a place in our hearts, for only then will the memory of the guardians and the beauty of the forest echo through the ages, inspiring new generations to protect this sacred sanctuary, ensuring that the flame of hope continues to shine brightly amidst the vastness of nature, guiding the steps of those who dedicate themselves to preserving this invaluable treasure for future generations, maintaining the promise of a future where harmony between humanity and nature prevails over the forces of darkness and destruction, and may the wisdom of the ancients continue to echo in the hearts of those who are willing to listen to the whispers of the forest, learning from its secrets and understanding the importance of protecting this sacred sanctuary, where life flourishes in its fullness and hope is reborn with each dawn, renewing the cycle of existence and perpetuating the legacy of the guardians who gave their lives to protect this magical and special place, where the beauty and strength of nature unite in perfect harmony, creating a refuge of peace and serenity for all those who seek refuge in its embrace. May this welcoming place never find a hiding place, for the light of the forest will shine brightly, dispelling the shadows and guiding the steps of those dedicated to protecting this priceless treasure, ensuring that the flame of hope continues to burn forever, illuminating the path of those who are willing to love and respect nature in all its glory and magnificence. Only in this way can we guarantee a future where harmony and balance prevail over the forces of destruction, and the forest will continue to thrive, protected by the love and dedication of its eternal guardians, who will watch over it forever, ensuring that its beauty and strength remain intact for future generations, who will inherit the legacy of protecting this sacred sanctuary, where life flourishes in its fullness and hope is reborn each new day, perpetuating the cycle of existence and ensuring that darkness never finds a hiding place, for the light of the forest will shine brightly, dispelling the shadows and guiding the steps of those dedicated to loving and respecting nature in all its glory and magnificence. To his glory and magnificence forever and ever. Amen. A new legacy. May the beauty of the forest always be safe, and may darkness never prevail. For as long as there are living beings who love and protect it, the flame of hope will continue to shine brightly in their hearts, illuminating the path of those who dedicate themselves to preserving this sacred sanctuary for future generations of humanity, where love and peace prevail. Be willing to listen to the whispers of the forest, for in its depths resides ancestral wisdom, which flourishes in fullness. Be reborn with each dawn, renewing the cycle of existence, perpetuating the legacies that have been given to us. And remember, magic is special and unique, uniting in perfect harmony and healing those who seek a welcoming refuge, where we can hide from the darkness and let the flame of hope burn magnificently. Only in this way can we prosper, dedicating our lives to being eternal guardians, watching over the forest so that it remains intact, so that future generations may inherit this new legacy. Protect this place, letting love and peace prevail. Be willing to listen to the whispers of the forest, for in its depths resides ancestral wisdom, which flourishes in fullness. Be reborn with each dawn, renewing the cycle of existence, perpetuating the legacies given to us. And remember, magic is special and unique, uniting in perfect harmony and healing those who seek a welcoming refuge, where we can hide from the darkness and let the flame of hope burn magnificently. Only in this way can we prosper, dedicating our lives to being eternal guardians, watching over the forest so that future generations may inherit this new legacy. May the beauty of the forest always be safe, and may darkness never prevail. For as long as there are living beings who love and protect it, the flame of hope will continue to shine intensely in their hearts, illuminating the path of those who dedicate themselves to preserving this sacred sanctuary for future generations of humanity, letting love and peace prevail. Amen. For this whisper is a ray of promise to love and be safe forever, and one day find us only its echo through the ages, inspiring new generations to protect this sacred sanctuary, ensuring that the flame of hope continues to shine brightly, amidst the vastness of those dedicated to preserving this priceless treasure for future generations of humanity, with love and peace prevailing. Be prepared to listen to the whispers of the forest, for in its depths resides ancestral wisdom, which flourishes in fullness and is reborn with each dawn, renewing the cycle of existence, perpetuating the legacies given to us. And remember, magic is special and unique, uniting in perfect harmony and healing those who seek a welcoming refuge, where we can hide from the darkness and let the flame of hope burn magnificently. For only in this way can we prosper, dedicating our lives to being eternal guardians, watching over the forest so that future generations may inherit this new legacy. For in the forest resides the cure for the soul, magnificently dedicating our lives to being eternal guardians, watching over the forest so that future generations may inherit this new legacy, and thus we may always be reborn and love the legacies given to us and remember that the magic of the forest heals and liberates, and magnificently dedicating our lives to being eternal guardians, watching over the forest so that it remains intact so that future generations may inherit this new legacy, and thus we may always be reborn and love the legacies that have been given to us, and remember that the magic of the forest heals and liberates, and our love for the forest will prevail forever, for we are its guardians and protectors, and our mission is to preserve its beauty and its magic for future generations. Amen. We are the very essence of the forest, the personification of its soul. We are the promise that, as long as there is love and respect in our hearts, darkness will never prevail. And so, the forest flourishes, protected by the whispers of the wind, the dance of the leaves, the strength of the rivers and the light of the stars. And in every heart that connects with its magic, hope, healing, and the promise of a future where harmony between humanity and nature is the eternal symphony of existence, are reborn. For we, the guardians of the forest, keep the flame of hope alive, protect its secrets and ensure that its beauty and magic remain forever, inspiring new generations to love and protect this sacred sanctuary. We whisper in the ears of those willing to listen, guiding them along the path of ancestral wisdom, showing them the importance of living in harmony with nature, of respecting every living being, of protecting every tree, every river, every mountain. We watch over the darkness so that it never finds a place to hide, for the light of the forest will shine intensely, dispelling the darkness and guiding the steps of those who dedicate themselves to loving and respecting nature in all its glory and magnificence, forever and ever. Amen. We are the ones who are reborn with each sunrise, renewing the cycle of life, perpetuating the legacy of the ancient guardians, keeping the flame of hope alive in our hearts. We are the forest, and we are the forest, an eternal union, an unbreakable bond, a promise of love and protection that will echo through time, inspiring new generations to join us, to become the new guardians of this sacred sanctuary, to protect the beauty and magic of the forest forever. For we are the forest, and we are the forest. And as long as there is love, respect, and courage in our hearts, darkness will never prevail, and the forest will flourish in all its glory, forever and ever. Amen. We, the guardians of the forest, perpetuate this legacy, keep the flame of hope alive, protect its secrets, and ensure that its beauty and magic remain forever, inspiring new generations to love and protect this sacred sanctuary. For we are the forest, and we are the forest, and our union is eternal. The forest is our home, our temple, our refuge. It is the place where we find peace, where we connect with nature, where we feel the presence of ancestral spirits. It is the place where we learn to love, to respect, to protect. It is the place where we become who we are. And as long as we live, we will protect the forest with all our strength, with all our love, with all our soul. For we are the guardians, and the forest is our responsibility, our passion, our life. And so the forest thrives, protected by our hearts, guided by our spirits, blessed by our ancestors, and darkness will never prevail. For we are the forest, and the forest is us, and our union is eternal forever and ever. Amen. We, the guardians of the forest, keep the flame of hope alive, protect its secrets, and ensure that its beauty and magic remain forever, inspiring new generations to love and protect this sacred sanctuary. For we are the forest, and the forest is us, and our union is eternal forever and ever. Amen. We, the guardians of the forest, perpetuate this legacy, keep the flame of hope alive, protect its secrets, and ensure that its beauty and magic remain forever, inspiring new generations to love and protect this sacred sanctuary. For we are the forest, and we are the forest, and our union is eternal. And so the forest thrives, protected by our hearts, guided by our spirits, blessed by our ancestors, and darkness will never prevail. For we are the forest, and we are the forest, and our union is eternal, forever and ever. Amen. We, the guardians of the forest, perpetuate this legacy, keep the flame of hope alive, protect its secrets, and ensure that its beauty and magic remain forever, inspiring new generations to love and protect this sacred sanctuary. For we are the forest, and we are the forest, and our union is eternal. The forest is a sacred place, a place of power, a place of mystery. It is a place that connects us with nature, with the spirits, with ourselves. It is a place that heals us, that strengthens us, that transforms us. And as long as we live, we will honor the forest, respect its secrets, and protect its beauty. For we are the guardians, and the forest is our mission, our passion, our life. And so the forest flourishes, protected by our hearts, guided by our spirits, blessed by our ancestors. And darkness will never prevail, for we are the forest, and the forest is us, and our union is eternal, forever and ever. Amen. For we, the guardians of the forest, perpetuate this legacy, keep the flame of hope alive, protect its secrets, and ensure that its beauty and magic remain forever, inspiring new generations to love and protect this sacred sanctuary. For we are the forest, and the forest is us, and our union is eternal. The forest is a sacred place, a place of power, a place of mystery. It is a place that connects us with nature, with spirits, with ourselves. It is a place that heals us, that strengthens us, that transforms us. And as long as we live, we will honor the forest, respect its secrets, protect its beauty. For we are the guardians, and the forest is our mission, our passion, our life. And so the forest flourishes, protected by our hearts, guided by our spirits, blessed by our ancestors. And darkness will never prevail, for we are the forest, and we are the forest, and our union is eternal, forever and ever. Amen. For we, the guardians of the forest, perpetuate this legacy, keep the flame of hope alive, protect its secrets, and ensure that its beauty and magic remain forever, inspiring new generations to love and protect this sacred sanctuary. For we are the forest, and we are the forest, and our union is eternal. The forest is a sacred place, a place of power, a place of mystery. It is a place that connects us with nature, with the spirits, with ourselves. It is a place that heals us, that strengthens us, that transforms us. And as long as we live, we will honor the forest, respect its secrets, protect its beauty. For we are the guardians, and the forest is our mission, our passion, our life. And so the forest flourishes, protected by our hearts, guided by our spirits, blessed by our ancestors. And darkness will never prevail, for we are the forest, and the forest is us, and our union is eternal, forever and ever. Amen. For it is we, the guardians of the forest, who perpetuate this legacy, who keep the flame of hope alive, who protect its secrets and ensure that its beauty and magic remain forever, inspiring new generations to love and protect this sacred sanctuary. For we are the forest, and the forest is us, and our union is eternal. The forest is a sacred place, a place of power, a place of mystery. It is a place that connects us with nature, with the spirits, with ourselves. It is a place that heals us, that strengthens us, that transforms us. And as long as we live, we will honor the forest, respect its secrets, and protect its beauty. For we are the guardians, and the forest is our mission, our passion, our life. And so the forest flourishes, protected by our hearts, guided by our spirits, blessed by our ancestors. And darkness will never prevail, for we are the forest, and the forest is us, and our union is eternal, forever and ever. Amen. For we, the guardians of the forest, perpetuate this legacy, keep the flame of hope alive, protect its secrets, and ensure that its beauty and magic remain forever, inspiring new generations to love and protect this sacred sanctuary. For we are the forest, and the forest is us, and our union is eternal. The forest is a sacred place, a place of power, a place of mystery. It is a place that connects us with nature, with spirits, with ourselves. It is a place that heals us, that strengthens us, that transforms us. And as long as we live, We will honor the forest, respect its secrets, protect its beauty, for we are the guardians, and the forest is our mission, our passion, our life. And so the forest flourishes, protected by our hearts, guided by our spirits, blessed by our ancestors, and darkness will never prevail, for we are the forest, and we are the forest, and our union is eternal, forever and ever. Amen. For we, the guardians of the forest, perpetuate this legacy, keep the flame of hope alive, protect its secrets, and ensure that its beauty and magic remain forever, inspiring new generations to love and protect this sacred sanctuary. For we are the forest, and we are the forest, and our union is eternal. The forest is a sacred place, a place of power, a place of mystery. It is a place that connects us with nature, with spirits, with ourselves. It is a place that heals us, that strengthens us, that transforms us. And as long as we live, we will honor the forest, respect its secrets, and protect its beauty. For we are the guardians, and the forest is our mission, our passion, our life. And so the forest flourishes, protected by our hearts, guided by our spirits, blessed by our ancestors. And darkness will never prevail, for we are the forest, and the forest is us, and our union is eternal, forever and ever. Amen. For we, the guardians of the forest, perpetuate this legacy, keep the flame of hope alive, protect its secrets, and ensure that its beauty and magic remain forever, inspiring new generations to love and protect this sacred sanctuary. For we are the forest, and the forest is us, and our union is eternal. The forest is a sacred place, a place of power, a place of mystery. It is a place that connects us with nature, with spirits, with ourselves. It is a place that heals us, that strengthens us, that transforms us. And as long as we live, we will honor the forest, respect its secrets, protect its beauty, for we are the guardians, and the forest is our mission, our passion, our life. And so the forest flourishes, protected by our hearts, guided by our spirits, blessed by our ancestors, and darkness will never prevail, for we are the forest, and we are the forest, and our union is eternal, forever and ever. Amen. For we, the guardians of the forest, perpetuate this legacy, keep the flame of hope alive, protect its secrets, and ensure that its beauty and magic remain forever, inspiring new generations to love and protect this sacred sanctuary. For we are the forest, and we are the forest, and our union is eternal. The forest is a sacred place, a place of power, a place of mystery. It is a place that connects us with nature, with the spirits, with ourselves. It is a place that heals us, that strengthens us, that transforms us. And as long as we live, we will honor the forest, respect its secrets, protect its beauty. For we are the guardians, and the forest is our mission, our passion, our life. And so the forest flourishes, protected by our hearts, guided by our spirits, blessed by our ancestors. And darkness will never prevail, for we are the forest, and the forest is us, and our union is eternal forever and ever. Amen. For it is we, the guardians of the forest, who perpetuate this legacy, who keep the flame of hope alive, who protect its secrets and ensure that its beauty and magic remain forever, inspiring new generations to love and protect this sacred sanctuary. For we are the forest, and the forest is us, and our union is eternal. The forest is a sacred place, a place of power, a place of mystery. It is a place that connects us with nature, with the spirits, with ourselves. It is a place that heals us, that strengthens us, that transforms us. And as long as we live, we will honor the forest, respect its secrets, and protect its beauty. For we are the guardians, and the forest is our mission, our passion, our life. And so the forest flourishes, protected by our hearts, guided by our spirits, blessed by our ancestors. And darkness will never prevail, for we are the forest, and the forest is us, and our union is eternal, forever and ever. Amen. The forest whispers ancient secrets, healing songs, and memories of time immemorial. With each new season, the earth renews itself, the trees blossom, and the rivers dance in harmony. We are an integral part of this cycle, weaving our story into the tapestry of wildlife. And as long as the flame of hope burns in our hearts, darkness will never find refuge. For we are the guardians, the protectors, the lovers of the forest. In our hands rests the responsibility of preserving this sanctuary for future generations, so that they may marvel at its beauty, learn from its wisdom, and connect with its soul. And when our earthly journey comes to an end, our spirits will merge with the essence of the forest, becoming part of its life energy. Our whispers will join the chorus of the winds, our tears will nourish the springs, and our hearts will beat in unison with the rhythm of nature. And so, the forest will continue to thrive, blessed by the presence of the guardians who loved and protected it with fervor. Darkness will try to infiltrate, but it will be repelled by the strength of unity, by the courage of the defenders, and by the magic that resides in every leaf, every creature, every ray of sunshine. And in the distant future, when our names are just dusty memories, the forest will still be there, majestic and imposing, witnessing the eternal cycle of life and death. And in its twisted branches, in its deep roots, in its sunlit clearings will echo the promise that, as long as there is love, respect, and unity, the forest will live forever, for we are the forest, and the forest is us, a sacred symbiosis, an eternal pact, a song that will echo through time, inspiring new generations to tread the path of protection, wisdom, and harmony. And darkness will forever remain at a distance, powerless before the force of love that pulsates in the heart of the forest and in the hearts of its guardians. Amen.